Jugoslavio, Jugoslavio. Sveti suce moga sjana, ponosito sretna kada. Jugoslavio, Jugoslavio.
Remember when you ran away and I got on my knees and begged you not to leave because I go berserk? Well, you left me anyhow, and then the days got worse and worse, and now you see I've gone completely out of my mind. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha! You thought it was a joke, and so you laughed when I had said that losing you would make me flip my lid, right? You know you laughed, I heard you laugh. You laughed and laughed, and then you left. But now you know I'm utterly mad. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their thumbs and toes, and they're coming to take me away. I cooked your food, I cleaned your house, and this is how you pay me back for all my kind, unselfish, loving deeds. Ah, well, you just wait, they'll find you yet, and when they do, they'll put you in the ASPCA, you mangy mutt. And they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, they're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha, to the funny farm where life is beautiful all the time, and I'll be happy to see those nice young men in their clean white coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha-ha, to the happy home with trees and flowers and chirping birds and basket weavers who sit and smile and twiddle their...
Hello my friends, today is May the 29th of 2018. It's Tuesday. In fact, today I'm about to go to the police station. Believe it or not, right now it's almost 2 o'clock already, but I'm working hard to get this video done so I could use this as a proof of MK Ultra against the psychiatrist, which is becoming lately very annoying. Psychiatrist that was involved in MK Ultra, in torture, and have anticipated the takeoff at this stage against me with lots of dirty tricks. Word is about psychiatrist by the name Vesna ŠVAB. This is a local psychiatrist here in Novo Mesto in Slovenia. And in respect to this post here, which was posted on the May 26th of 2018, I am going to provide public today with additional comments, as there is much more to say about it. This was done quickly, however, it's not as easy to just as it looks here. All through, it's really sophisticatedly well written here on my news site. This is well written stuff. However, there's just much more to it. This is much more complex. This psychiatrist is extremely sophisticated psychiatrist. In Slovenia, they work a lot through MK Ultra to convince people that, even the people that know that nothing is wrong with them, they are using MK Ultra to convince the people, to trick the people somehow into submission, psychiatric submission, into death basically. So this is what this video is all about. This is going to be submitted also to Slovenian police. I hope they do understand in English, as I just don't have the right for a pencil writing in Slovenian language. It doesn't do absolutely anything for me because Slovenian police here in Novo Mesto is totally rigged. Entire investigation department have participated in MK Ultra. They have in fact provided Vladimir Putin, Merkel, Macron, all these elites that were gathering in our house with special detail. Special detail means security, extra security. And those people that were involved in this case consequently were appointed as investigators at the local police station. So they would represent ultimate obstacle to me, to cover up the whole thing for the neighbors, to cover up the whole thing for the psychiatrists, and basically obstruct me with this investigation, with this procedure here. Ultimately, per psychiatrist even somehow gesture that I am suffering from paranoia, from schizophrenia, because I see things that do not exist. This is how sophisticated this operation is. I know that this time it's going to end with, as much as that's basically what they have suggested on MK Ultra, they're going to reject the whole thing at the local police station and also from the state. I already know this stuff. However, I have to continue to do this stuff. The main part is what's going to happen afterwards. And when I'm going to be rejected again, what's going to happen afterwards, and so on, and so on, and so on, till death separates me from this case. That's basically how it is, or I should say, till justice is served in this case. Hello, my friends. Word is about psychiatrists that stopped by on April the 13th of 2018, after I have announced director, #1 individual from psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana, BOJAN ZALAR, who was involved in this case from very beginning and who also had designed this case on how they would simply destroy me completely, and physically and mentally, and basically in every possible aspect. Through the torture, through extreme, to the most severe torture, basically even through the use of psychiatric, not only medications, but direct energy weapons, denial of the right to have a mail services like all other people have worldwide, and so on. The stuff that you have seen basically. And then, denouncing BOJAN ZALAR, director of psychiatric hospital, and further Zoran MUDŽA, psychiatrist in Ljubljana psychiatric hospital, local psychiatrist, TATJANA PROKŠELJ, basically all Serbs, local state attorney, prosecutor, Bojan Albar, people who claim actually that I am extremely dangerous for environment, neighbors, home, that I am even threat to myself, my own life. Basically, I'm a suicidal. Claimed that I adore Anders Breivik, serial killer, that I am working, that actually is my will, that's what I want to do is basically exterminate gypsies, Jews, Slovenian people, I don't know who else, Serbian people, I don't know who else. Stuff like this, but at the same time, people who have brought in this house through Alexander Vučić, that's a president now in Serbia, also his mentor, Vojislav Šešelj, in 2002 and 2003. And so after I denounced that, she stopped by here with a nurse who also was involved in MKUltra, and started basically to, really incredible. Have presented herself as a like we never met, like she doesn't know anything about MKUltra as a psychiatrist, that she is actually from the human rights kind of psychiatrist related to the human rights and stuff like this, psychiatric abuse type of psychiatrist, stuff like this. This is how she presented herself. Then exactly according to MKUltra scenario, she sent me an invitation like this, basically with her name on it. You can see that arrived on the 26th. Was it the 26th, or am I completely mistaken? Appointment was for the 24th, and it was sent, I don't know, on May 15th, something like that. Doesn't matter. Don't worry when I say she sent this according to MKUltra. Okay? Don't worry about any of that kind of stuff. I do have original audio recording of my confession, my testimony about this stuff, based on which I am gonna play that audio recording to you right now, and here and then you're gonna see me giving you a comment, because it's so good, it's so well done, that I'm not gonna even go over and video record myself talking to you in the camera. This stuff is real stuff I'm talking about, MKUltra. Everything I have stated to you is real. I can't provide more proofs, because when you're subjected to MKUltra, you don't have a video camera and ability to record yourself. Otherwise, I don't know how more credible this testimony could be. With a lot of proofs also. Okay, so let's go to the audio recording, and I am going to give you explanations in addition to what you were able to read about the news which I have posted on my news site. I'm going to explain to you exactly the scenarios, how they work, and how misleading these scenarios are, how dangerous really the world of psychiatry is. You're going to see how dangerous this psychiatrist is. Her name is Vesna ŠVAB. You're going to see in continuation all the names, everything.
Moscow and Belgrade wanted a neo-Nazi plan badly. That's one of the things. Okay, so in Serbia they conditioned Alexandra even whether I'm going to go and collaborate with the Chetniks, with Russian, whatever you want to call that stuff. Cossacks, obviously, are Cossacks the one that are beating up people over there in Russia under Putin, whipping them, beating them up. And under MKUltra it became totally evident that Cossacks affiliate themselves with Chetniks, which is extremely, extremely bad position for Cossacks. I'm very sorry for them that they have lowered their standards to that kind of level.
I'm sure you understand what I am exactly talking about. I'm talking about imperial. When it comes to imperial, so much extermination, genocide was done against the black people, Hispanics, Chinese people, people of other colors, and also people that are not deemed as white, like the cases with myself, let's say. Ultra-white, we Slavs are not considered as white. We are not as equal to Scandinavians and Germans and so on when it comes to that so-called white issue. Okay, But when it comes to that global neo-Nazi imperial plan, you got to understand that Russia, entire Eastern Europe obtained, I'm not going to say the latest technology, because they did not get the latest technology at all. But they got from the Stone Age, what USSR used to be, Yugoslavia and so on, a little bit ahead. Okay, because it's a shame to say they did not really produce anything almost back in USSR and Yugoslavia, really totally disadvanced, totally backwards, the whole thing. So they did, for the cooperation, they got American weapons, they got American toys, tanks, missile system, all kinds of systems and stuff, so they can use that now as a aggression methods against Ukraine, Poland, whatever, whomever they're going to assault, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, whatever. That's basically what we are talking about when it comes to neo-Nazi imperial plan. And in return, they would give a green light to the US, to Britain, Germany, France, and so on, to invade Africa, Middle East, South America, and so on and so forth, Asia, and stuff like that. Don't worry, China and India are on board, because none of that stuff could possibly be done without participation of all the global powers that are nuclear powers. So all that stuff is being done. In respect to the Chetniks, yeah, it's sad that Russian diplomacy have confirmed me that Putin and other diplomats, Russian diplomats, they insisted that they would want to affiliate Chetniks with Cossacks and Cossacks with the Chetniks and give them Chetniks some kind of identity to the Serbian and stuff like that. I think pretty pathetic, pretty sad, but hey, this is how they do it.
Netanyahu made a very serious error yet again. Came up with all kind of ideas, manipulations. Wanted to basically sell me to the Moscow and to the Belgrade for the sake of his political interests. In other words, Israel would get a little extra from Moscow and Belgrade for selling me. Basically getting me on plane and to Israel, so I would disappear from Slovenia, so I would disappear from Europe, from the world. There were some dark scenarios in respect to Israel, but maybe the darkest one of them all was under MK Ultra. Borut Pahor insisted, together with Novomesto police, with all these apparatchiks, on how what's going to happen is I'm going to be with Alexandra, and that's going to be a payment for everything.
Just to clarify myself who Alexandra is. Alexandra is a niece from Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a really beautiful girl who, by the way, had paid a tremendous price because of this case alone. I don't know about the other stuff, but I know this case costed her tremendously a lot. They did some very bad stuff to her as well because of this thing here. Just big interests get in a way, and people are just no longer seen as a people. Just want to clarify who Alexandra is. We'll not go into any details about further about this and that, because I just want to keep her identity protected, private. Like I said, she already paid price too high in respect to this. You're going to get a little taste about, as we go along, about a little taste about how things are done.
And on top of that, for all the criminality these people have done, they have abused her, they have used her, they have used her basically to condition me with any kind of actions, legal actions that I would take against psychiatrists and against the police. so that they could freely engage in whatever was done against me. And so the only thing they would do is they would condition, basically, even as far as they gestured, if I would even dare to say something against them, this and that, they would go and they would turn against Alexandra, and they would suggest all kinds of lies and shit they have gotten themselves into through the corruption. And corruption is not necessarily something that applies to financial agreements, payments, but corruption can go as far as political corruption, and political corruption is the strongest one. Geopolitical interests are stronger even than financial corruption.
How far did, let's just say, Vladimir Putin gone with all this stuff? I told you this girl suffered because of this case tremendously. She suffered because of this case tremendously. I'm going to tell you how far. He threatened her. He gave her a Russian citizenship, and he threatened her to lose even the Russian citizenship in front of me. I don't know really what the what steps he would take, this and that, but he used her, and Belgrade also used her to pressure on me tremendously. Like, it would make her a troubles. Like, they would make her a lot of troubles if I would, talk against Putin, against the Russia in the future and stuff like that. Like a terror pressure. She went through tremendously a lot. On one side like this, and on the other side you have an uncle. And that uncle, he is, how can I say, is a prime minister of Israel, and he's very dedicated to the Israel. There is not a lot of people that are as dedicated to their countries as Benjamin Netanyahu is to the Israel. Now, there are also some other deals that come along with stuff like this that he knows, I don't know about, but you can only suspect, okay? Human rights have become deal of economics, trade agreements even. Not only are people traded, but you can see even the nations and even continents today are sold. So you do something like this and you don't have to pay and this and that, and who knows who gets the money and who gets what and so on. This is how it works now, these things.
And so that's the kind of stuff we want to talk about. All along throughout this entire time, these people would just throw themselves between me and her, and were using her and me, basically not allowing us to even have our lives. They conditioned, make our own decisions, live the way we want to live without interference, make our own decisions. One of the people who did this kind of stuff, of course, was the psychiatrist ŠVAB, Vesna ŠVAB. Vesna ŠVAB presented herself at first as a Jewish Slovenian, and just how much she would be willing to, assist Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, this and that. However, she was again used, to terrorize, to threaten. The one who used her the most was basically Miroslav Berger. Miroslav Berger was obsessed with the idea to control me like a dog on the leash. Miroslav Berger was the one who adored electroshocks. Miroslav Berger was the one who was violent under MK Ultra. He enjoyed, and he would do absolutely anything to control me like a dog on the leash through psychiatrists. Nothing appears to him more than violent world of psychiatry. Everybody was scared of this individual, how mad he became over time. And so she might not even be necessary really affiliated with the Jewish people, with the state of the Israel. From the beginning, her idea was, but just as the case was with other people, not as radical, but in continuation it turned on into all kinds of scenarios on how I would just agree. And again, niece of Netanyahu was again used, they abused her, they again used her to accomplish the results. Basically, they have conditioned me, gestured me that around the people like this, that are famous people, known people, relatives of known people, psychiatry is necessary to control individual. There is necessity, especially because I would be subjected to such a torment procedures, that there will be a psychiatrist that would administer me, and the one who would administer me would be, of course, this Vesna ŠVAB.
This was a Miroslav BERGER area. Rationalization about how this is completely normal, that around people like this that are known or their relatives and stuff like this, it's lots of psychiatrists, and this is very important and stuff like this. So the persons that are observed, and if anything goes wrong and stuff like this, it's immediately noticed and so on. This is just the way of life. It was rationalized to me. And then you have a whole bunch of other people under MK Ultra who would gesture that, who would talk, this is the way it is, this is the way it is, it's normal.
Vesna ŠVAB was obsessed with, I'm not going to only say manipulation techniques, but with violence. The lady gestured on how the people, she had a very, very heavy psychological abuse methods that she used against me. She would gesture together with Miroslav BERGER, that is on age of my parents, and on the difficulties that people who have problems in a childhood, throughout a childhood, would experience, and what most rational solutions the third party, therefore the state, would take. So she wanted me to understand that as someone who was abused, it would rather be my end than the end of my parents and relatives who would do all that kind of stuff.
What's really bizarre about this lady is she actually had me acknowledge what I have just stated here under MK Ultra, understand that it is more expensive, that suggests a gesture that my parents are older, elderly people, and whose side you think it's gonna be, and when you have a problem with the neighbors, with the family, who do you think is gonna be, who do you think will be the one who's gonna pull the short end, basically. So it started like this, immediately placing me in submissive position. Miroslav BERGER, on the other hand, was even more alive. This was used as a courier between Belgrade and Moscow. This was the trusted individual of the high politicians, highest ranking politicians, who would relay messages to psychiatrists, based on which psychiatrists would then apply them against me. Now, he did also learn some techniques, MK Ultra techniques. Mainly, however, in MK Ultra process, this individual would be used for those type of purposes. And I think he frankly did cross big time the red line with everybody, as he completely lost his mind. Like I said, people that were from other countries, Britain, Germany, France, and US, and so on, they started to observe the whole thing strange. Like, they observed this guy is so weird. Anybody could just notice that individual was totally possessed with a form of violence that is performed on the victim under MK Ultra. Now, the Miroslav Berger did not only use mind manipulation techniques, but he also was violent. He had violent stuff also. He injected inside of MK Ultra. Miroslav Berger actually came up with idea on how it would be reduced for the society expenses, rather than facing a wider problem, I should just say, perform your duties according to your responsibilities, according to whatever is required to you by your employment, by your job, and by the law. If you're a police officer, judge, and so on, arrest a perpetrator, a violator, and place him in the right place. No, rather than do this, we could do the things different way and cut the costs and stuff like this, and on a global scale that would actually save the money and stuff like this, meaning that I would be the one screwed, basically, not other people, not the neighbors and not the parents and so on. So what he would involve the community to cut the costs, because according to Berger, you see, there is a problem because the whole community gets affected when somebody like Fritzl, let's say, is exposed. That's one thing. It gets a dark shot of an entire community. And then also there are costs involved in this process because there are many people involved in it and stuff like this. So rather than to serve the law and justice, you just go after the victim and you get the victim isolated somehow out of the process. If you have read at the beginning the story that I have posted on my news site, there was a lady that was totally falsely diagnosed with a paranoid schizophrenia like I was, by this very physician, not by this very physician, by another physician in Slovenia, and basically murdered under the supervision of this psychiatrist, under Vesna ŠVAB, who have observed the whole thing. They knew about what went on, and interesting is that this girl actually was picked up at her employment and taken to psychiatric hospital, violently hospitalized and then brutalized over there, basically. She also suffered problems during the childhood due to abuse. So the similarities here are so outstanding. And Miss Vesna ŠVAB just dreamed about this portion of MK Ultra when direct energy weapons, basically microwave gun, X-ray gun, ultrasound gun, acoustic torture would be used on me. She just dreamed about this stuff. She just dreamed about it. And in continuation, I'm going to explain to you, she was into observing people, how they react to certain medications. And so she would be in search of people who have a tumor. She presented herself to me, this whole thing, as that she's gonna help me, out because they're gonna do bad things to me, meaning that she knew about direct energy program torture. She anticipated one. She anticipated I actually would develop brain tumor, cancer, something like this, and have suggested on how they would give me medications that could be very deadly for me then, and this and that, as I would have this brain cancer and stuff like this, and that she's gonna go around in Slovenia and watch other people how that's done, and stuff like this. So when it comes to BOJAN ZALAR, when it comes to psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana, all these people, this is a little bit more. This is a ohaha. This goes to the next level. This goes basically into the level of causing me a brain cancer and then test medication on me, just as it was done to the other lady over there who died over there in Ljubljana, is what I'm trying to say. It's a whole bigger issue. Or this or some other methods would apply. In respect to the lady that was killed in Ljubljana through use of psychiatric medications, only that my niece's husband, Mitja Weber, bragged under MK Ultra, and even here in real time when he came, that when he goes to the remote construction areas, when he is on his own, he's using detectors, like electromagnetic detectors and other detectors, just to be safe, on the safer side. And when this lady was arrested at her place of employment, at her work, it's nowhere stated that direct energy weapons, microwaves, and stupidity, some dirty game was not played on her till she actually developed a brain cancer, a tumor, and then was subjected to this type of treatment under the supervision of this psychiatrist. Vesna ŠVAB told me what she does is she is around stuff like this, but works from the distance, goes through the files, basically goes through the files, see what kind of medications and so on and so on and so forth. This is the type of psychiatrist we are talking about. Let's continue.
So she wanted to place me in a submissive, mentally submissive position immediately. Second, she rushed forward with the idea that I would have to report myself for this meeting. They have orchestrated under MK Ultra exactly according to the letter which they have sent me.
Folks, the letter is here. Remember when I told you that I actually have the proof about the stuff on how to convince people who don't even have any kind of paranoid schizophrenia and stuff like this, to just go and submit themselves to psychiatric treatment? Watch this out.
During which I would be even injected with medication. However, that medication would not be medication, but would be actually a tranquilizer, a sleeper, something like this, on what they have under MK Ultra orchestrated with an ambulance vehicle, how they would take me to the airport and from there to Israel, because she is the one, she would help me, she would realize just how much we love with Netanyahu's niece. And from the conversation which we had together with, on the first conversation here, when this ladies arrived here with the nurse, she arrived, they wanted to let me know on how I should treat ladies, what my view is on the ladies, how I should treat the ladies.
What went on under MK Ultra? Under MK Ultra, this is Netanyahu's niece. I shouldn't say this already, but she is red-haired, and this one also is red-haired, and it was a whole lemonade, it's how it all started. How they're going to help me out, and they're going to help me out, but that I'm going to have to be a gentleman, that I will have to know how to properly treat ladies, respect them, and so on and so forth. And so the nurse that was with her, with the psychiatrist that came, as it is, you can listen to the audio, titled in a video, unannounced visit from psychiatrist on April the 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th. Something like this. It's the whole audio conversation of that, and I'm referring to that. They totally brainwashed on how I have to give ladies, have to let them go in front of me, know how to treat the ladies, know how to do that, know how to do this, and that. And so on. And during that conversation, we eye each other, and I know exactly who these people are, and so I give them, look, I wouldn't give them anything different than I would give to the ordinary person, female, because I adore females, I love females. I feel that we males exist to serve females. We are in this world to serve them. This is just the way it is. But if you listen to that conversation, and you're gonna realize it's a lot about was placed on how to properly treat. If I, like a test, you're gonna be testing me, seeing how I act. Again, placing herself in a position, in a higher position, in like authority position, somebody who's got a right to administer, watch, see on how things are. Something I do not definitely approve or agree with, and I do it in an intelligent way to let them know the way you watch this program right now.
Under MK Ultra, Vesna, ŠVAB, psychiatrists insisted on importance on how to treat the ladies. Now, not for the real reasons on how you would treat women, ladies, but because again she would want to place me in a submissive position from which she could abuse me. Therefore, always wanted to put, the issues that are normal, to treat women with respect and stuff like this, she would want to use this, abuse and misuse this to the point when I would just allow them at the local hospital here to inject me with the drugs. Of course, we would not land in Israel. We probably would land in a mental hospital, or the next meeting would be scheduled for me at the local hospital here, and so on and so forth. This is the stuff we just need to talk about. The one who had initiative in doing that kind of stuff was a MIROSLAV BERGER. This is an individual, the criminal that was involved all along. So that's the stuff we want to talk about. Second portion that pertains to Vesna ŠVAB is the world of paranoia, of the schizophrenia, political schizophrenia. Basically, they fabricated, and they might have not even fabricated that, because there were attempts to drive me insane with direct energy weapons that would affect high blood pressure, really place me in a seizure, take me to the local hospital and perform some nasty surgery, something like this, brain surgery. Second method that she wanted to use was the idea, and it was not the only one. It was government officials here that were involved in this. They gestured on, because I would be so much abused under MK Ultra, in real world after MK Ultra, and I would go through all these things, and I would not be capable to handle. There would be necessary, this kind of surgery that would delete my memory. And they have even gone ahead and suggested some kind of King David. I remember the Netanyahu dream about all this time, about how he would perform some kind of surgery, King David, that I don't know what he would wire my head with and have like complete control and stuff like that. So there were quite few nasty ideas they came up with, in which Vesna ŠVAB was involved in. However, all this stuff was for the sake of the Belgrade. Talk all you want to talk about, but do not talk about the Belgrade, do not talk about the Moscow. What have stricken me the most about Vesna ŠVAB is that she knew totally about direct energy weapon programs that would go against me already in 2005, 2006. And, not that she would stop or that she would be interested in helping out. Basically, one of the scenario was that I would undergo surgery. One other scenario was be taken to Israel. Those are the scenarios that apply to her. But it was that third scenario in respect to direct energy weapons for which she claimed, again we go to the schizophrenia, paranoia issues, she claimed I would develop a tumor, and on how I will have to again use her because she is related to the Israel, and she would want to help me, and she would be the one actually who would ensure that I would not get some kind of medications. That, however, would affect a tumor, because if I would not use her, there would be other physicians that could prescribe me deliberately medications that would affect tumor. So the lady is extremely manipulative, extremely emotionally, psychologically manipulative, and more than anything, criminal. She was even involved in a death of a patient that almost was in very similar circumstances as mine, was abused as a child, and they would just come to pick her up on a home, on what they would just fill her with medications, with all sorts of medications that were not even tested yet and stuff like this. Obviously they have done something to her and work. If we take in a consideration stuff Vesna ŠVAB have talked about, her knowledge about direct energy weapons that are going to be done on me, we can make the conclusion that medication was tested on this lady. I think in 2012 the lady died. So we are talking about a psychiatrist that is totally deadly, that is murderous. This is going to be how much does this have to do with state of the Israel? I am going to tell you exactly how much this has to do with the state of the Israel. It does have nothing to do with the state of the Israel.
Okay, I'm being a little bit too nice about it when it comes to Israel, and there are quite a few reasons for that. Okay, Israel did have, I don't want to use that bad S word, but fair share of that S word in this case. Israel steered a lot of that S words, in my case, did a lot. But there is a difference between the Israel and between by Moscow, by Belgrade controlled Ljubljana, Slovenia. This is just a Russian Serbian satellite here in the European Union that is violating, raping everything that European Union states used to stand for. Around the people, like around the countries like Slovenia, once countries like this become a member states, I don't know how much those are still different, but they used to stand against the stuff like this. Okay, the difference is that Israel, Jews, are still somehow, regardless of all this, willing to assist me, help somehow, some way. This people here, this is a totally different world. Here, they would have already whacked me a long time ago if it wasn't for international community and stuff like this that is watching all this stuff. I would have been already gone a long time ago. These people have destined me here for death. Basically, I don't actually have the words when it comes to this country where I was born, really. I don't have the words for it. So that's why I am kind of shielding and protecting Israel. But Israel does have a fair share of that S word in this case, sure. And against me and against even Netanyahu's niece. Because to the Netanyahu, I guess, the only thing that is saint is the state of the Israel or something like this. That's how he sees things as.
It's got to do absolutely exactly the opposite than with the state of the Israel, and I'm going to explain to you how. Slovenian government have used, along with this psychiatrist, a physician here from Slovenia that was actually even my schoolmate. Her name is Teja Jedločnik. Teja Jedločnik have a very similar physique facial physique to niece of Netanyahu. Is smaller, looks kind of same, similar, not the same. And so what they would do is they would use her to gesture me all along that this is the way it is, this is what I should do, and if you're going to do this, it's going to be that, and all kinds of stuff like that. So Teja Dločnik, this is Yugoslavia, this is a Belgrade, this is a Moscow, doesn't even have anything to do with Israel. So again, yet another manipulation trying to dirt against Israel on every step of the way. The only thing I can say is about the niece from Benjamin Netanyahu is that she got the Russian citizenship. She loves Russia. She loves Yugoslavia. She loves Serbia. She loves Slovenia. She feels very good here. Is a young girl, beautiful girl. Just wanted to have a normal life like myself, and they abused her. They used her. They promised all kinds of lies, all kinds of stuff, and kind of also ruined her life. That's about it. That's as far as this whole thing I can tell. Nothing much other than this is here to say, pretty much. Regarding the Teja Dločnik was my schoolmate. According to all the scenarios, of course that nobody would help you out. But according to MK Ultra scenario, this doctors was the one she would go and help out. If you listen to the conversation between me and her, you're even going to notice that she gestured, this psychiatrist, when she comes, she gestured that she's from, like for the human rights, that she's like psychiatrist from international human rights, that she's involved with the international human rights. And Teja Dločnik was the one that she would actually gesture on how she's going to witness for me and stuff like this. Nobody would witness for me. Nobody would do anything for me. It was exactly the opposite stuff as I have explained in this case. And therefore, again, the whole thing was a lie and abuse against me, and even against the niece of the Benjamin Netanyahu. That's all there is to it. Even this psychiatrist, even ŠVAB, even Vesna ŠVAB belongs to the option of Belgrade, Moscow. Even this one. I don't know, maybe she is Jewish, maybe, but you got to understand that here in Slovenia, Jewish is actually unwelcome. It's quite a radical country. It's quite very bad the way people see things as. You know, I feel pity for these people here, for this system here, that they have all the stuff they got from Netanyahu, basically the way he helped them out with everything, and yet this tit sucking, it never ended. They always wanted more and more and more from him, and so in the end the guy was even guilty for, I don't know, for what kind of stuff they would want to blame the state of Israel. So it's just lie atop of the lie, and it just really never ends. This is just a barrel without the bottom of the lie, or without the bottom. It is filled with the lies. That's all there is to it. What?
Ljubljana, Belgrade, if you like, they used lots of doppelgangers during MK Ultra. This girl, it's a nice girl, this girl. But again, she was used per Belgrade, per Moscow, to substitute, to replace Netanyahu's niece and so on. And there was another individual I already have exposed on my news site who was used to replace my best friend here, Simon. And there was all kinds of manipulations, lies. So now even the people that wanted to help, they couldn't do absolutely anything about it, because as a victim, it would be very difficult for one to discern at times, but I was pretty best possible at. But at times it would be very difficult to guess who is it you're dealing with. I mean, because the facial recognition, and they would not even allow you to, and so on and so forth, you know. They know how to manipulate these things. It's kind of difficult, so it's got to be used a lot of intuition, logic, and all kinds of stuff, questioning and creating own idea who you deal with and this and that, so you can get the degree I did. For the rest of it, it is in Slovenian language. However, everything I have stated here is just the pure facts from the audio recording that can be heard from the video that I'm about to demonstrate you. If you speak Slovenian, you can get a translator. I just don't have so much time. I gotta go to police station again today. Gotta convert this, gotta burn this, convert, post online, and this and that. Takes so much time, folks. Not easy thing to do. Thanks for watching this video. Yeah, if you do have that translator, I'm gonna show you a link. I'm gonna give you a description of video that you can look for, get that in Slovenian language, and you can listen to our conversation. Again, thanks for watching this video. Till next time.
Realizing that this might actually play an important role, not only for the Slovenian police, but also for the private investigators, for the political parties, I am indicating you exactly where to find the video. You would go to part 2 of 2, which would be this one right here. Again, this is the title of the video. You would go to the second part for the original audio recording, which is also available on YouTube, and then you have a RooTube here too, and you have this here is Nico Video too. There's a link right there, and you also have on fc2.com as well, the same thing. So it is available in Slovenian language, and you will understand what I mean exactly. Therefore, 4 scenarios: driving into paranoia individual through the MK Ultra, through the lies, driving individual completely insane, possibly causing me a seizure through the high blood pressure issues, and then really engage in dirty surgery against me. And of course, the stuff that I have just talked about, how to make me submissive, how to compel me into submission to allow psychiatrists to do the dirty stuff on me.